It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly media roundup. I'm tonight's host, Roland Boyden. I'll be taking you through the next 15 minutes into the regularly scheduled 6 o'clock news, as tonight we'll get you a few new details in last month's big sword stabbing case in town. Plus, we'll go in-depth on the Select Board's skatepark site visit, get you news from the Brattleboro Retreat, 7-town summary, and much, much more. We're going to do it all in 15 minutes, so stick with us right here in 545 Live. Welcome back to this August 8th, 2014 edition of 545 Live. That's footage courtesy of hardworking BCTV volunteer Russ Graybeck of the fireworks in Bellows Falls last week. Now, Russ's work is set to feature prominently in tonight's episode in a few different capacities, as he's been out with both his own camera and BCTV's camera getting us plenty of footage. We'll touch back on that in a moment, but first into the headlines we go. I'd like to start with this here Select Board skate park site visit story, as that's been stirring up controversy. For that, back into the newsroom and the script we go. All right. This Monday, members of the Brattleboro Selectboard held a special meeting in the form of site visits to the 4 downtown points currently on the table for the location of the proposed downtown skate park, a highly controversial topic ever since its inception. Now, each of the 4 sites proposed by the Citizen Committee BASIC, or Brattleboro Area Skate Park is Coming, were tentatively approved for further exploration at a Parks and Rec committee meeting earlier this summer, landing before the board as a non-action item at this past Tuesday's regularly scheduled board meeting.
Visit at the 4 or 5 different locations. I mean, if anybody wants to make comments or tell us anything, that's fine.
We would be talking about that far end of the parking lot, coming up 100 feet off the bank, which brings us about to that co-op permit parking sign.
PCBs are present both in the wall and the floors and in the basement. So any subsequent development, if the structure is to remain, would have to address that.
You can see that full special Select Board meeting site visit filmed by Russ, who was out in the field gathering that tour, led in part by Planning Director Rod Francis and featuring the members of the Brattleboro Select Board. It's all at BrattleboroTV.org. All right, time to move on now and take a flashback to last month's biggest story in town, or maybe arguably biggest story. This had to do with a sword stabbing. For that, back into the script we go here. Now, an incident involving a sword left 2 men bloody Sunday night in Brattleboro. I'm quoting from the original Reformer article, but only one of those men is facing criminal charges at this point. Now, Edward W. Hernandez, 41 of Elliott Street, pled not guilty this past July to 1 count of felony aggravated assault with a weapon in connection with wounds suffered by Daniel Silverman, age 43, at a Canal Street apartment. Now, Judge Catherine Hayes did lower Hernandez's bail from $20,000 to $10,000 at an arraignment in Windham Superior Court, but Hernandez still left the courtroom in custody. Now, Hayes noted factors including the seriousness of the charges, and so she declined to grant the suspect's request for a no-cash bail. Now, among the folks quoted in this article was Judge Hayes, who said it's lucky that the complaining witness in this matter survived. Now, speaking of area newspapers, Brattleboro's weekly independent newspaper, The Commons, features on BCTV's 545 Live broadcast often as part of our Commons News Report. And for that, I'm going to do what all of you can do out there and head to commonsnews.org to check out all of their articles. You can also pick up a newspaper as they hit newsstands for free each and every Wednesday around town, or head to commonsnews.org to find out how to get a paid subscription, help keep the paper afloat. Today's topic focuses on the recently completed Western Ave repaving project. And for that, we're going to go into the split screen and the newsroom close-up here. Now, this Western Ave repaving desperately needed after a series of dramatic potholes made headlines with a series of flat tires this past winter. The paving has been completed on the section of a state highway without the need for local taxpayer funds. This is all coming down from the feds and the state. Now, according to DPW engineer Gary King, who was quoted in the paper late last month, the primary area repaired runs from Brattle Street west to Edward Heights, with the most heavily traveled portions also receiving resurface work to the white fog lines along the shoulders. He was quoted in the paper as saying, "Our reasoning is to keep within the state funding and avoid work on and around many drainage structures." Though he did say, in spite of trying not to do work around the drainage structures, that the overall repaving process did produce an increase in the road cross slope that was implemented to help keep standing water off the road. All right, that's just a little bit of the details from that article. You can flesh it out by heading to commonsnews.org. Check out all the latest. They've got all their articles up there. You can find things from the Voices section and much more. Again, commonsnews.org. All right, time to move on now and check in with the Windham County Democratic Senate primary race. That's right, there are several contenders for 2 open Senate seats for Windham County, and first round has some Democrats squaring off against one another for the 2 seats, with incumbent Senator Jeanette White of Putney running against newcomers Becca Ballant of Brattleboro and Joan Bowman of Putney, along with former State Commissioner of Agriculture Roger Albee of Townshend. Now, for video on this story, we're going to turn to Windham 4 Rep. Mike Merwicki, who hosts an in-studio series in the off-season. He also broadcasts live from the State House during the legislative session. The show is called Montpelier Connection, and he hosted a special 1-hour edition with 3 of the 4 primary contenders for this Democratic Senate seat, including Roger Albee, Jeanette White, and Becca Ballant. And while Joan Bowman was unable to attend because of a work conflict, this full program shows on BCTV Channel 8 this coming week and is also available to stream at BrattleboroTV.org, where you can check out the clips right now.
One of my strengths is the ability to take all the sides of an issue and look at them and then hopefully come up with a solution that serves Vermonters in Windham County. But in the entire legislative session, it isn't just taking the sides of one issue and looking at them respectfully.
I've been an educator in Windham County for 17 years, both in the public schools and the Community College of Vermont, and through a variety of other grant programs through the Department of Education. And when you're a teacher, you see things at the ground level, and you understand poverty in a different way, and you understand your community in a different way. And as a teacher, and as a mom whose kids are now in the public schools, and as a writer who talks to people all over Windham County through my column in The Reformer, I feel like I have a good understanding of how difficult it is to raise a family here in Windham County.
It's an area that I grew up in. It's an area I've been passionate about. It's an area I served not only as Secretary of Agriculture and Food and Markets for the state, but also working on policy at the federal level with former Congressman Jim Jeffords on the House Ag Committee, where we passed the first Ag Land Protection Act in the country, and I wrote the first bill dealing with acid rain in the United States, and won an award from the Soil and Water Conservation Society of America for some of my work.
All right, moving on in the headlines here. Earlier this summer, we reported on Brat PD's Coffee with the Officers event, a casual meet and greet aimed at increased communication between the department and area residents. With this week's news, seeing the Windham County Sheriff's Department take the concept to the next level, with Corporal Melissa Martin busting out her own family recipe for biscuits and sausage gravy at a fundraiser event at the Putney General Store yesterday. That was an event that drew the attention of the Reformer's Howard Weiss Tisman, who was on hand with a smartphone to document the proceedings.
I was like, yeah, that's me. Is there a radio right here? Yeah. Could be. Thanks again. Have a good one, Howard.
Again, those short video clips uploaded by reformer photographers and reporters on the go from the field as they report can all be found at tout.com/BratReformer, and you can flesh out the info by heading to reformer.com to check out the articles or pick up a paper on a newsstand around town. All right, time to move on here and check in with the Brattleboro Retreat for our next story. And, this latest bulletin from them does have to do with mental health issues. It also has to do with music this time around, as last week top administrators at the Brattleboro Retreat announced the addition of the world-famous Gay Men's Chorus to a fall lineup of events aimed at helping to bring attention to what they believe is a critical need for specialized mental health care services, especially as it relates to the LGBT community. Now, the successful Boston-based group is slated to perform at the Latches this coming November, but tickets are already on sale.
I know that there are stories about gay people's lives. We sing all the stories of our lives. To me, every performance we do is different.
We make a significant difference in people's lives in everything that we do. And we learn every day from our patients. Every day. Every day we become better. Every day we learn how to experience another person's life and help give them voice.
Catch that full press conference attended by camera-toting 545 Live producer extraordinaire Kip Tewksbury, which also includes a video of the chorus themselves, as you saw a little clip of there. That's slated to show next week on BCTV Channel 8, when it will subsequently hit BCTV's official video-on-demand archive at BrattleboroTV.org as well. All right, moving on. If you're having trouble envisioning a parade of babies, then maybe last weekend's footage from Grace Cottage's annual Hospital Fair Day in Townshend will shed some light on that concept. That includes the much-celebrated Baby Parade. Now, that's a march down Route 30 in downtown for area residents, young and old, born at Grace Cottage Hospital. Once again, BCTV volunteer Russ Graybeck was on hand to gather us some footage of the proceedings. And with that, it's time to launch into our 7-town summary. The problems with animal control have been a beacon for controversy in several towns, with debates over the town's animal control laws in Putney spanning nearly 2 months' worth of meetings last year. As this week, Newfane became the latest to join the ranks, with the board facing the added complication of having to mitigate the problems without the aid of an animal control officer. And while the municipality's 29 registered dogs and their 16 respective owners may seem a manageable population, a recent rash of dog bite reports has prompted the board to debate the issue with an added level of urgency.
The dog was a Newfane. The dog did not have a tag at all. And a Newfane resident called, and the dog would not go away. So, to me, that's an animal control officer's responsibility.
It's precisely what an animal control officer would have done. And he would have to take that call, he would have to go out.
Catch that full Newfane Selectboard meeting from yesterday. It's already up at BrattleboroTV.org to stream at your leisure, and it'll show all this coming week at BCTV's destination for government and education. That's 2 clicks up the dial at Channel 10. All right, just a few things to wrap up here, including a look at area events in the region as we check in with our BCTV video calendar, all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, and head to Putney for this edition to take a look at what's running at Next Stage Arts at 15 Kimball Hill Road, just across from the general store right in downtown Putney, as they get set to roll out a weekend of performances for After the Revolution. That's a play by Amy Herzog, directed by Carla Baldwin, with performances running August 7th to the 16th, so still time to catch it, and here's the rundown on the story. Now, After the Revolution is a bold and moving portrait of an American family thrown into an intergenerational tailspin, forced to reconcile a thorny and delicate legacy. Want to find out more? Check out Next Stage Arts website, nextstagearts.org. And again, thanks to the Brattleboro Savings and Loan for sponsoring our calendar look. All right, that's enough chit-chat for me. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you next time around.
Troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy.
The Boston Gay Men's Chorus creates musical experiences to inspire change, build community, and celebrate differences.